Are y'all ready to head off the trails? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would love to have you. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. We always appreciate that. Please, you guys, follow us at Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. All right. Right now, my shop, War Woman Goods on Etsy, is having a big sale this week. So anybody looking for some really awesome gifts for Christmas, you guys, please go shop with my shop. It really helps me out, and it helps out everything I do, including this show. Okay. All right. I have another fantastic guest here with me tonight. I have Nick Valente in the studio. Don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has a great program set up for us. So let's get to our guest. Nick Valente is a cryptozoologist and researcher with the North American Dogman Project, who looks into reported encounters and theories on the notorious Dogman. The goal of the NADP is to gather as much information about the creature phenomenon known as the Dogman. The NADP is made up of volunteers in many states of the continental U.S. and is growing. The majority of their members have backgrounds in the field of law enforcement, military, and other crypto groups. We're going to talk about Dogman and much more tonight. And I'd like for you guys to help me welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight, Mr. Nick Valente. Hey, Nick.
How you doing, Jessica?
Hey, I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I've been hiking all day out in the woods, so I'm feeling good.
It's always a good place to be, especially if you're careful.
Absolutely. I was very, I stay careful, and I protect myself out there. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. How have you been? How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, excellent Thanksgiving. Excellent.
Yeah.
We'll still have some turkey left. I'm going to do some stuff with that during the week. You know, turkey vegetable soup and turkey pot pie and all kinds of good stuff. I actually had it for breakfast yesterday morning. I wanted something protein filled. So.
Oh yeah, right. I mean, all I got to say is casserole city. Like, we had so many casseroles at Thanksgiving. I love casseroles though. I do, but it's not good for your belly. I'm just going to say, what news for
you got to get out there hiking every day.
Yeah, that's why we were out hiking. Yeah, we actually went to Cheaha State Park, which is in Alabama. And Nick, I wanted to tell you before we start the show tonight, I just got to tell you guys, Nick, that place is full of Bigfoot. First of all, they love Bigfoot at Cheaha in Alabama. And I have some pictures to show, just a couple. They actually had a huge statue, a carved Bigfoot
Look at that.
at Cheaha, at the highest point of the mountain where you can go hiking. They have a gigantic carved Bigfoot carved out of a tree up there.
Wow.
And you go into their gift shop. And I actually have a picture of my sister and I. This is me and my sister today.
Uh-huh.
We were hiking in the fog, you guys. It was so
look at
foggy.
that in the background. That is foggy.
Yeah, I mean that's usually a very open view of and it's a drop off, right? I mean, it's so dangerous right there where we were standing. It's a drop off you can just see for miles and miles, but today we couldn't see anything because it was so foggy. Yeah, it was kind of like Silent Hill, that movie where it looks like that, but the people died and they don't know they're dead. Yeah, it was weird, but a lot of fun. But anyways, we have a lot of weird stuff to talk about other than Cheaha tonight, Nick. Yeah. We do. Now, there's something that's really caught my attention over the past few days. A friend of mine named Tanya, the existential empath who's been on my show, she sent me an article. She said, this is more possible Dogman in the news on MSN. Okay, so I figured that you would know a little bit about this, or a lot. And it was an article about a non-human creature slaughtering a horse in Ohio this week. Do you know about this, Nick?
Well, I've been following that since early last week.
Yeah.
We do have boots on the ground in the area, and we did send people in there to check it out and investigate it. And I read that article that you sent to me, and I think there's another article out there that actually has some more information about it. I did see it momentarily. I mean, I read about 100
Yeah.
different articles a day, so I put that
I've
aside.
got it.
But yeah, there's a couple articles on it, and I'll let you read that one just to give the audience an idea what's going on.
Yeah, let's do that because I mean there were several articles and the one that I have, I'm just going to read some excerpts from it. From the sheriff's report. A sheriff's deputy went out and took a report on it. And so there's more to this, but this is just, I'm just going to read an excerpt, like I said. Okay, so this was on November the 22nd. This was this week. In Southern Ohio, a sheriff's office is reporting a mysterious death of a horse. The deputy's report reads, the farmer stated, today he found his barn torn apart and was missing a horse. He stated there was blood in the barn and the back door was busted open. He found the horse in the creek in the back of the property dead. He has cameras and stated he checked it already and no one had been there since yesterday. Upon further inspection, they were able to determine that a human did not do this to the horse. Well, I don't know exactly what happened to this horse, so I was thinking maybe you've looked more into it and we can talk about it tonight.
Is there more to that article?
No, that's all that I have with this article.
I thought the one you sent me showed a little bit more.
Okay.
They said that it was found out in the water, and also that its head was missing.
Now,
this area, it's southern Ohio, southeastern actually. It's near the Pennsylvania border. What we have people out there, and they did go investigate it and check it out. And like I said, there was some other articles written about it. One of the articles that was written about it out there said that the horse was decapitated.
Okay.
It was torn apart. It was found in the water. Also, the head. Now, see, this is something that draws red flags for me. It said the head was found on a spike. Now.
Oh, I didn't read that part. I was wondering why it was so weird because they were making such a big deal about it with all these articles, but I never read that part. Wow.
Like I said, another article said it was found in the water. So red flags for me right away. Number one, Dogman doesn't do something like that.
Okay.
They wouldn't think about it. I mean, it's just not in their nature. Same thing with a Sasquatch. No, they wouldn't put it on a spike. That is a human thing. So right now we're suspecting, that some human may have had a hand in it. Also, red flag is that this farmer says that he has cameras up and he checked it and nobody was there. Well, the film had to show something, had to show the horse coming out of the barn one way or another. And like I mentioned in the beginning, that part where that farm is, it's near Pennsylvania. And the reason I bring that up is because there are black bear in Pennsylvania. There's also black bear in Ohio, but there are black bear in Pennsylvania near that area. So they'll cross border over there. It's a possibility because if a bear kills an animal for feed, they will take it away. And a lot of times they'll bury it or they'll hide it, for later, munching on it for later.
Right. Like a bone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just strange to me that his camera didn't pick up anything. Number one,
Weird.
It really should have. Number two, the horse's head was found on a stake, a stick, on top of it. And number three, the area does have bear, and there's no mention of that, and no mention of the claw marks or anything like that. Now, I had 3 people over there from my organization that tried to get the sheriff's report, the written report on it, and it's not available right now. They said they spoke to a couple of deputies who had some knowledge of it, only some, and they said it was torn apart, pretty bad. But they didn't do an autopsy on it or anything like that, or had a veterinarian look at it so far. And I think they really should, because if you really want to find out, and if you really want to make that statement, a non-human did this.
Yeah.
Well, if you really want to make that statement, then you really should have had an autopsy of some sort. You should have had a veterinarian look at the wounds on it. And, you look at the wounds and you can determine what did it.
Yeah. Well, and to know if the blood had been drained, and because when we have things like ET contact and mutilations with cows, those don't usually have their heads put on stakes. That sounds like something Vlad the Impaler would do, back in the day. That doesn't sound normal. It doesn't sound like anything but a deranged human might do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
I was discussing this with a little group, and let me say hi to Vince Richardson. Hi, Vince.
Yeah.
I was discussing this with a little group, and what I threw out there was this. There are a lot of people that will fake things. I mean, big surprise, right? And in the past, people have fake things in cryptozoology, and it just makes cryptozoology have a bad name. I mean, it's hard enough as it is. There's a Sasquatch out there, there's Dogman out there, Mothman. People are, sure, we don't believe you. I mean, it's hard enough trying to prove these things. And then you have these fakers that come out there for their 15 minutes of fame. And it's that's what this kind of looks like to me at this point.
Yeah, but I used to have a horse, and horse people who own horses, they love their horses. It's like having a dog. It's family. Do you suspect that the owners of this horse could have done that?
I don't think the owners of the horse did it. I think it could have been done by a bear, is what I'm thinking.
A bear? But would a bear put its head on a stake?
No. This is what, there's two parts to this story here.
Okay.
I think it could have been done by a bear, dragged out of there, and and been buried by the bear. And I think a human may have come across it. This is just my speculating, and could have taken the head and put it on a spike, or something like that, to make it seem like it was really an odd occurrence. But I don't know. I've taken, at this point, thousands of reports on cryptids, specifically Dogman and Sasquatch. Never once have they displayed a kill on a stake. It just doesn't happen like that. No. I'm just saying somebody probably did that just to scare people.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound, regular. Like it doesn't sound typical.
It's right? totally not typical at all.
I've been seeing, The Godfather. We're getting flashes of The Godfather tonight on this, in our minds.
Yeah, and any of you people out there that have horses and know about horses, you'll know that a horse's head can weigh about 200 pounds. So I mean that's a little rough. What they did. Yeah,
very heavy, and so. I don't know. I think it's interesting that I did not read that part. And honestly, I was like, well, what was so weird about a horse being drug out and dead or killed? But I didn't know his head was taken off and put on a stake.
Yeah, well, that's
why I have you here, Nick.
But the thing is, why was there no pictures of this? If this farmer had a camera, I mean, he obviously he thought it was important enough to state to the police that, oh, I had a camera and I didn't see anything odd. Well, how did the horse get out of the barn? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounds like a remote viewing investigation for Jessica Jones.
That's right.
I'm going to have to look into this.
I think you're going to need to get some more info.
Why not?
And view it.
Yeah, why not? I'm all about solving these mysteries because I think that's really odd, and I know that Ohio has quite a few cryptids there. They do have reports of Bigfoot and Dogman and all sorts of other cryptids there. But you're saying it doesn't sound typical of Dogman to do something like this.
No.
And you are, you know better than most people about Dogman. You know their behavior. you've experienced Dogman and you've taken a lot of reports and investigated Dogman for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just can't see, a dog man saying, okay, slash the head off, let's stick it on a stake and leave it out there, and let's throw the rest of the horse in the water.
Now, was the horse eaten on? I know that's terrible to ask, but
they just said that it was torn apart.
Mm.
And I didn't see anything in the written reports that we have access to. And my three people, the boots on the ground that were over there, when they spoke to a couple of the deputies there, they didn't have any idea, that they seemed to have no idea that it was ripped open and organ meat was out, because that's the first thing an animal's going to go for is the internal organs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bigfoot would want to eat some of those delicious livers and all the good meats on the inside. That's it. Because and so to you, you're saying that it does not seem like a cryptid did that.
It's highly suspicious to me. Highly.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get that straight. And so this is awesome because I know this has been in the news. Like I said, my friend Tanya sent me that article, and I think it's interesting now, Nick, that they're actually putting articles out there in the news, mainstream news about possible cryptid attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a while.
I guess the news must be getting pretty boring for them that they're going to start slapping cryptid info out there, which I'm glad. Glenn, by the way, northeastern Ohio is an area where there are at least 135 black bear. So they're up there, and they're also down in southern southeastern Ohio near the Pennsylvania border. I mean, that's an absolute fact. I know about that.
Yeah. Vincent, you have a great point. Vincent says that he would ask if there's an occult group in the area. This could be some sort of occult activity, a ritual or something like that. It's dark.
Though? I mean, from what I've known about the occult groups, and we had several a couple decades ago in New Jersey, but usually they would deal with cats, rituals where they would, cut up a cat. And sometimes ravens, birds, but a horse. I think that's a large scale occult group if they were doing that.
That is odd. I think there's more to this story. Hey, Dumar, I see you in chat. Yeah,
it has to be, but they're not letting anything out right now. I mean, it's been a little bit. It's been about what 8, 9, 10 days now, and still nothing. Because my people are checking on a daily basis. And like I said, why didn't they, take pictures, check out the wounds on the horse, things like that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'd be interested to know if it was like mutilated, like ET involvement, like a cow mutilation. But we don't know because we don't have the autopsy report. But ETs are not putting the heads of cows on stakes usually. So, okay.
So Sicilian ETs,
Yeah. Well, it could be. I know this sounds out there. It could be some sort of weird government program or something. I mean, who knows? We don't know what's going on. But I know you're not into the government program stuff too much, Nick. So that's all my conspiracy theories.
From my information, they don't do that. But I have been recently. I mean, this is another one I've thrown on myself now. Something I'm highly investigating is the UFOs and the government. And just to give you a little bit of what I've been looking at, I'm coming up with things like we've had the UFO technology from the 50s, and that's where we're getting the F-22 Raptors, the F-117, air fighter jets and airplanes like that, and the stealth bombers. It's a high possibility that we might have something that we are using in this day and age, because our fighter jets are just amazing.
Oh man, there's no question that we are using reverse technology and information from ETs for a lot of our technology today, even cloaking technology and you name it. I know Dave Scott and knows a whole lot more about this than I do, and other people here at SOR, but we're absolutely using that technology today. Yeah.
Oh, I think they are. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a new project I'm working on as a side project.
Oh yeah. You're always working on very interesting projects.
I just got so many of these now. I mean, they just come up. They just come up, and it's like, hey, that sounds interesting. Let me try that.
That sounds like me. You know what? I've had people give me suggestions for remote viewing targets, and I've done things. And let me go down. I was going to go down the list of the different cryptids that could be possibilities.
Oh yeah.
In Ohio for what happened to that horse. Okay, so and I actually have some pictures here because I have actually done shows on some of these cryptids before, and I've remote viewed them, and I've really researched them extensively. And so the first one would be, well, of course, Nick, we have Dogman here. Okay, so there's different types of dogmen. What are some, do you know any dogmen that are specific to Ohio?
Well, I believe I'm going to just pull up my little list here.
Okay. We both have our lists.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got notebooks full of cases that I hand wrote, after interviewing people, and that's where I came up with that. I think I don't know if you remember when we did the Halloween special. I didn't get a chance to tell it, but the three friends that were hunters in Washington State, and they had a dogman, or actually a group of dogmen experience up there. And I just found it, and I looked. The reason I found it was because it said that the case was still open. We didn't close it out because we were unable to totally investigate it. So
really,
yeah,
wow.
It was just it was horrible for them, because I'll give you a spoiler alert on that story if I ever tell it sometime for you. Their three dogs. Each man had a dog, and their three dogs were all killed.
Sad.
Yeah,
very sad.
They were duck hunters, and they sent the dogs out one at a time, and they didn't hear the first dog. But when the first dog didn't come back, they sent the second dog. They had a yelp. They heard a yelp from the second dog. The third dog, they heard the thump, and the head was off of that dog, but they heard the thump of the body.
Oh, you didn't. I don't think you said that on Halloween night. You didn't say that head. You didn't talk about the head thumping on the ground.
Yeah, we ran out of time.
I don't remember that part. Yeah, if anyone would like to see that show, go to the Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. I had Nick. Thank you for being my co-host that night. We had such an amazing show. Yeah. That was one of the top shows on YouTube on Halloween. I'm just going to say that because I think it was awesome. Yeah. It was definitely awesome.
We had so many guests though, and they were telling their stories that I didn't get a chance. I told you about this before we started the show, I remember, but I didn't get a chance to finish it for you.
Yeah.
So
we ran out of time. We had a lot going on that night. That was a lot of fun.
I have it right here in all my notes and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but we can talk about that some more if you like.
Yeah. In Ohio, you have a couple of variants. You have the canine variant 4, and you have the canine variant 2. Now, the canine variant 2 is a hyena-looking type of dogman, whereas the canine variant 4 is probably the biggest dogman of them all, the most muscular. So if you ever come across one, it has an extremely broad head, 3-inch fangs on the front, and the ears are more on the side, not on the top. On the top, the ears would be in the canine variant 1 and the type 3 variant 1. So you have
I have the picture pulled up.
There you go.
We have the chart. Oh wait, let me take the comment down so that we can see it. Okay, there we go. Yes.
Yep, there you go. Canine variant 2 and the canine variant 4. Now that 4 is highly muscular. It's the soldier dogman. It's extremely large. It's probably totes in around 750, 800 pounds. Very, very muscular.
Wow.
Now, the bodybuilder of all the dogmen is the canine variant 3, and that's the one that I actually had an encounter with back in 2013. And I think generally people see the type 3 variant 1, that's the top left, and the canine variant 1, that's the bottom left.
Yeah.
That's what they generally see. But you said about Ohio, so variant 2 and variant 4.
Wow. Okay, so that is the most typical looking dogman that people encounter. And a lot of them say they look like a German Shepherd head on
Yeah.
on a very muscular humanoid body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of that's what you're describing there. That's
Yeah.
what they have in Ohio. Yeah.
That's it. So
Yeah.
if that's something that they saw out there, I'd love to know about it. My gosh, I'd get a team up there as soon as I could, because that would be really interesting. That would be a great find.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a lot of people assumed it was a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch that went in there and tore the animal apart. But as you know, you've done a lot of research. I've done a lot of research on Sasquatch, on
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. I've never heard of one putting a head on a stake before, but who's to say there's, I say that Sasquatch, Bigfoot, they're like humans.
Yeah.
There could be some serial killer Bigfoots out there, Nick, that do some weird stuff.
There's bad in everything that's living on this earth. There's good and bad. And I haven't come across a report myself anyway about a Sasquatch doing harm to a horse, but I have come across many reports that say that a Sasquatch braids the hair of a horse. I've gotten reports where they said that they braided the hair, and I'm like, seriously, they have the manual dexterity to do that? Okay.
They do. Well, there's something called witch knots, and I've explored that with Barry Littleton before, and I don't know. It's a sensitive subject, so I don't go there very often about witch knots. But they do braid hair, and a lot of people who have horses do report that their horses' hair is braided in the mornings when they come out to take care of the horses. Yeah.
We're taking up basket weaving and horsehair braiding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they do have yes. That's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down. We could talk about, but it's a little inappropriate when you talk about witch knots. But it is late at night, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has to do with molesting horses, okay, by Sasquatch. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to leave it at that. Okay. But yeah, who knows? Who knows, Nick? But like I said, Sasquatch is similar to humans is in they're all different and they all have different personalities, and some of them are nice, some of them are mean, some of them are sinister like that.
Yeah. Well, just like the photo you put up there, there's 7 different types of dogman. I believe there's like 11 different types of Sasquatch, Bigfoot that have been reported.
Yeah.
So here we go. We have 2, 4, 6, 7. That's dogman, but for Sasquatch, there's 11 different types. Now, the reason I mention that is because, like the Gugway, for instance, they are the meanest. I studied the Gugway quite a bit because I have I guess you would call him a cousin-in-law. He's an Algonquin Indian from Canada, and my cousin married him, and I actually got to speak with him many times, face to face, over cups of coffee. I would bring him some special coffee from the United States up there, and we just stay up to like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning discussing cryptids and the First Nation people's lore, which is very interesting. But
nothing better than coffee and cryptids. I tell you.
But he loves coffee. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He loves the coffee that we bring up there. I don't know why they can't put it up there. But down here in the United States, I've said this many times, Native Americans will not speak to me about it. I mean, they'll only go so far. They'll talk about customs and things like that, but the lore, no, they will not speak to me about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason, I guess. Some say that the Native Americans believe that they are just another tribe of people, the forest people. Yeah. So it's just they're their brothers, and sisters.
Depends on where you're at, I guess, because like if you're in Texas, you're not gonna have a lot of forest out there. I guess they're the mountain people. But yeah, they all say the same thing. And to the Native Americans, the dogman actually they feel that they guard their graveyards. They guard their dead.
Well, there was that one report of I believe it was a dog man that was digging through an Indian burial mound, right? What was that from? We've talked about this before.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
trying to remember. Didn't we talk about this where there was a dog man that was digging into an Indian burial mound? I'm trying to remember the story that was from.
Don't recall.
We have a lot of dog man stories. But yeah, it'll pop in my head in a second. I'll remember it. Yeah. But very interesting. Well, okay, so other things that are found in Ohio. Let's see. I have some more things. We have puckwudgies. Do you know anything about puckwudgies? Okay, because I don't know a whole lot about puckwudgies.
Yeah,
but it looks a little scary.
Those little scary things. I mean, look, he looks like he has some kind of a sharp stick in his right hand over there.
Yeah, he's going to stab somebody.
They'll nail your calves with those things and bring you down to their size.
I'm reading what it says. We were once friendly to humans. Well, I wonder what happened. But they're known to attack people or kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears. Okay, so do you think something like a clan of puckwudgies could have decapitated a horse, Nick? What do you think?
I don't think so at all. Plus, I kind of question their short knives and spears. Really, do they have people that can make knives and spears with the puckwudgie population over there?
I don't know.
Do they have a hot stove over there where they can heat up the metal and sharpen it and folklore? I think that's
a little scary. But don't you think that there's some truth in that in the folklore? There's a little bit of truth hidden in there with a lot of these local legends.
Yeah. No, I truly believe that there is some truth out of the folklore. There is definitely some truth that comes out of it, even if there's only like 5%. Then something's going on.
Yeah. Well, a very famous cryptid that I studied, I did a show on, which I actually remote viewed, the Loveland Frogmen.
Oh, the frogmen.
Yeah. Now that's a cool. Yeah, that's a cool story right there.
Yeah.
These things were seen for several years, actually, beginning back in the 1950s.
A couple of police officers from what the reports that I read, actually saw the frogman, going across the road, and they didn't really want to report that. They did not want to report it.
They didn't.
The guy was up for sergeant, and they'd look at him and say, "You're a whack-a-noodle. We're not gonna,
I'm not doing it. I'm not signing off on this." Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of the reports that we get, though, do come from law enforcement, Nick.
Yeah.
And you're a law enforcement officer, and yeah, and a lot of the people who are involved with the North American Dogman Project are involved in law enforcement or former law enforcement, which I find very interesting.
Military, either present, current, or former law enforcement, or still in it, but they will not admit to it. They go under a different name because, like I said, they don't want their chief of police finding out that they saw this and they're reporting stuff on cryptids. And the reason why police officers actually do see more things is because we're out there 24/7, and at nighttime.
Yeah. Well, Nick, you guys are taking the calls of all the people who are scared at night, who wake up to something banging on the side of their house, who are driving down a dark road at night and a Sasquatch or something runs out in front of their car. They're terrified. And so you guys have to go investigate those things. So you are on the front lines. So
that's right. We were usually the first ones to get there. And, I just never thought about it, when I would go to a call at, 2:00 in the morning, pitch dark, forest area, and you whip out your flashlights and everything. And sometimes you wait for your partner. Sometimes you don't. If some of the guys in the other towns hear, something interesting going on and they're kind of bored, they'll all come over, which is nice. We usually have 4 or 5 of us out there and we'd be looking around. and then we'd hit the Dunkin' Donuts after everything was over. So.
Well, I tell you what, it just having you guys out there to come and investigate, and even with the North American Dogman Project and what you do, Nick, and take your teams out places, it really gives people a sense of security and some relief to know that someone is out there listening. I mean, not all law enforcement officers are going to believe these stories, though. Am I right?
No, not at all.
How do they react to these stories when people call many times?
I've been there when and I've read reports, and it said the initial reaction for the officers was that, excuse me, sir, what were you doing before this happened?
Drinking?
Were you smoking anything? I don't smell anything in the air, but what was going on? Did you get enough sleep yesterday? And those are the questions they would ask people, and people would be put off by that. When you go there, you shouldn't lead the subject. You should let them speak, and let them fully speak. And then when they're done, then ask a few questions here and there. But to me, that's demeaning a person, and when you do that, you're really not going to get very much out of them in the future.
Yeah. Well, you know what I find, it's, yeah, I find all this very interesting. And, I have a family member who worked in law enforcement, Nick, and well, she worked at a 911 call center. And so she would, say that people would call in all the time. We actually do. I've mentioned this before. We have a, dogman reported in the north part of our county where I live. And so people would call and report that a werewolf was running across the road pretty often. Yeah. And it's not something that was ever published in our newspapers. Nobody knew about it, but the law enforcement knew about it. And so she was friends, with a lot of the sheriff's deputies and things like that. And they'd have to go out there and investigate. And I think it was split. Half of them believed in it and half of them didn't. They're like, it had to be a bear. These people were drunk or something.
You look at the area that you're in and like, what kind of bear was it? I mean, like a brown bear, a grizzly bear will go up to 8 feet tall, 7, 8 feet. A black bear generally 6 feet, 6'2", 6'3". Not too much bigger than that in the general population. Of course, you'll always have your anomaly, where you might have a black bear that's closer to 7 feet, but that's very rare. Something I wanted to say about the legends and the lores and stuff like that, in connection with my sighting of 2013, I saw it at the Watchung Reservation. I'm not going to recap it for people because they probably heard my encounter several times. What I want to talk about, though, is before that, they had the Watchung monster. Up in the Watchungs, many reports had come in about an extremely large beast that inhabited the woods. And there's two stories that are sort of interconnected here. One extremely, of course, is a cliche, one extremely dark and stormy night. This 20-year-old couple, they were in a car and they were driving up in the Watchungs, and these are mountains. This is a mountain range.
Okay.
And the car actually did run out of gas because it stopped. It stopped. And he got it off the roadway onto the side, and she was like, "Yeah, sure." And he goes, "Honest, I'm out of gas." He goes, "Look, it's not starting." And he told her, "Listen, lock the doors. I know there's a house back there about a half a mile. I'm going to go back there." This is before cell phones. This is going back quite a few decades.
How did we get by back then? I don't know how we survived.
I don't know. You just knew people were going to be home, or somebody was there to take a message when you dialed the phone. But anyway, he locked the car door. He left the keys with her, and he walked back towards the house that he had seen that they passed, because it supposedly had a light on, he told her. About 10 minutes goes by and she hears a thump on top of the roof.
Oh, right? No.
And rolling down is a head. It was her boyfriend's head. rolling down the front windshield, and there was blood pouring down. So evidently the body and the head just slammed on the roof, and it rolled down, and she's screaming and screaming and screaming. And I guess she must have passed out because she woke up to the knocking on her window. Two police officers, Watchung police officers up there, saying, ma'am, are you all right? Are you all right? Can you come out of your car? And the body was covered. The head was also covered, but she asked them, they said, do you know who that is? And then she says, that looks like my boyfriend's shoe, you know? And they said, ma'am, you don't want to see this. Okay, so that was that time. Earlier, and not connected to her, but in the same area, a doctor who lived about a mile from where this happened, he got called into the hospital. Now, mind you, it's a dark, stormy night. The wind's blowing. It's not raining too heavy, but it is raining. He takes off and he goes to the hospital, to do a shift because they had people that didn't come in. His wife is left home alone. She later on, about an hour or so later, hears banging on the side of her house, and she's hearing scratch marks on her house. She calls up the police department, and they promised her that they would be there, but they say it may take a couple hours. And she's like, I may not have a couple hours. Any case, the scratching went on for about a half an hour, and then it subsided. She must have fallen asleep. The next morning, a couple police officers do arrive. Her husband comes up the driveway just as the police officers are arriving. And he's like, why are you here? What's the matter? My wife okay? They went in, they checked on her. She was okay. And she told them what happened. And she says on the side of the house, this is a two-story house. On the side of the house is the scratching and this banging and everything going on. They went to the side of the house, and 12 feet off the ground, there were claw marks on the side of this house. Now, in New Jersey, we have black bear, and there's no way a black bear is going to reach up that high. So, wow. I mean, this was during the same time period where this fellow was found with his head decapitated on his car. So we have all kinds of crazy things going on out there. Who's this?
That's terrifying, Nick. Absolutely terrifying. This is like stuff that you see in movies. Okay. It doesn't even seem like that's real. I mean, that's wild. That is so scary. That is most people's worst nightmare.
Well,
for sure.
I've got one other one for you just to talk about what Vince
okay.
said. Has nothing to do with a monster, but with a cult. Up in the Watchung reservation area, they would always find pieces of coal set out in a circular pattern, a dead animal in the middle of it. They had cults many, bunch of decades ago. And something I guess I could talk about it now because this happened a while ago in Mountainside, New Jersey. A young man of 16, I believe, he went into his father's tool area, took out a hatchet, and he hacked the family to death. Mom, dad, sister, and he was a cultist. He was a young man, and they were drawing him into the cult. Yes, that was in New Jersey, all three stories.
Wow. That's terrifying. So there's obviously something weird going on with the energies in that area. Maybe it's riling the energies up there, Have you ever looked into if there could be a large hadron collider in that area? It's just a question.
No, I haven't. Not really.
Okay. And I know that everybody knows about the CERN and the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, but I've been told there are at least 30 all over the world. I've been told that there's one in Tennessee. There could be one in Georgia. I think they're all over the place. And a lot of times, even in places like Alaska, where they have the HARP, those frequency, it's like a high-pitched frequency, weather manipulation kind of technology. Things like that. Anything where there's some kind of frequency, going off.
Yeah.
it riles up all the animals and the people, and it makes for the animals, especially around the Alaska Triangle and in Alaska, considerably more violent against humans in those areas where they have those types of technology. So I would be interested to know what kind of technology they've got in that
Yeah.
area.
I'm just wondering what the waves, the sound waves and stuff from that do to humans.
It's
What
not
kind of
good.
reaction?
Yeah, Nick, it's got to be horrible. Yeah.
Well, oh gosh, I can never pronounce it. Dalatov Pass, where the
Dyatlov Pass.
all
Yeah.
right. I had a theory about that. There's no reason why they should have ran from their tent without proper clothing on. And I was thinking it's possible that maybe the military was doing some sort of experiments, not against them, but experimenting in the area. And maybe those sound waves caused them to run out of the tent. I mean, because in super sub-zero weather out there, you're running out there without shoes, without a shirt. I mean, that's really rough. I know when your core temperature drops to a certain area, you don't really feel it anymore. You actually feel like you're hot and all that,
Yeah.
and your mind just does crazy things. But for all of those people, for that to happen to them, my theory was maybe some sort of sound waves chased them out of there.
Yeah. You know what? This is so cool, Nick, because I actually, the first remote viewing show that I ever did was about the Dyatlov Pass.
Yeah.
And I looked extensively into different areas of that, what happened with them. And they all, from what I saw, there was something that came from the sky. It actually ended up looking like a military operation of some sort with the Russians. And they were, it looked as though they were guarding something out there that those people had trespassed on. And it was off limits. They had trespassed down the road, looking into the Ural Mountains. I wasn't even looking at the Ural Mountains. I was looking at something else, and I came across a piece of literature talking about how they say that there may be an entrance to inner Earth at the Ural Mountains.
Mm.
They could have been guarding that entrance to inner Earth right there, and that's what they were. That's what the people trespassed on right there. So I don't know.
What I researched on that, there's a lot of magnetism, a lot of nickel underneath that area, a lot of magnetism in the Ural Mountains. Actually the same as with certain parts of Skinwalker Ranch over here in the USA. There's a lot of nickel underneath. There's a lot of magnetism going on, and magnetic waves. It could, cause problems with the human body and the human brain.
It could. A lot of quartz. Actually, today where I was at Cheehaw in Alabama, I was just in awe of all the beautiful quartz everywhere. I mean, there were stacks of rocks everywhere where they stacked rocks, and we stacked our own rocks today. It was so beautiful. I had so much fun.
Yeah, there's some sort of I guess sound waves that quartz produce.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that if you really dive deep, you can find some answers and even more questions.
Way more questions. Because we don't know what's going on. But I do know it's all about energy, frequency, vibration.
Mm-hmm.
That's what our whole world is made of. And so when those things are off, and there is a collective effort to change those things to make it more uncomfortable for humans right now, and to change the way we're living, and it's a whole other rabbit hole that we could go down. I've gone down these rabbit holes on all my shows. So
I mean, between the frequencies and all this other stuff that quartz does, and between the magnetic resonance that nickel and magnetic ores do, and then throw on top of that the light waves, because I've mentioned this before that human beings can only see 10% of the light spectrum, and the other 90%. We can't see that. And my ideas on the subject are that possibly beings from another dimension that come here through portals or whatever, maybe they're unable to touch us, but they're in that other 90% of the light spectrum we can't see. And I could possibly have one right here next to me right now looking at us, and I wouldn't know it because I can't see that part of the light spectrum.
Well, and that's what some people claim is the reason that we can't see Bigfoots and Sasquatch, and that's how they cloak, okay, is
Well,
because we just can't see. Maybe they change their vibration in some way. Maybe
mm,
it's possible for humans to change our vibrational frequency by just being happy, okay, by
mm,
just being sad. You can go down a level and vibrate low, we call that low vibe, or
mm.
you can think happy thoughts and be on a good vibration and just happy and be in high vibe. Okay, so who's to say that Bigfoots have not figured out or know how to naturally change their vibration to where we can't even see them anymore? I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know for sure if
Maybe
that's
they would
right.
change their vibration, but they would also have to change their density,
Yeah.
mass and density, because the footprints, like, I mean, I've been with a group and we followed footprints into the middle of a field, and the footprint ended. There was no more footprints. So maybe there's a
Yeah.
way that they can both cloak and change their mass and density where they're not leaving footprints anymore. No trace.
I think you're onto something there, Nick. I think so. Yeah. I mean, we're still out there doing all this boots on the ground research. We're going to figure this out one day,
One
I
of these
think.
days, I mean, either that or I'm looking at my I got over 2 dozen notebooks over here filled with handwritten notes on reports that I've taken and interviews that I've done. And, most of them say open. They're still open.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have open cases. It's okay because we're still learning. And maybe it's just not time
Hmm.
to figure things out yet. There's something called divine timing, I've learned. And sometimes it's just a matter of time before everything will be revealed.
I
That's
hope
my
I'm still
opinion.
here when some of it is.
I know. I hope I'm still living too. And it's interesting because when I was younger, I used to say, "Oh, well, I'll find out all these truths when I'm dead.
Hmm.
When I'm a ghost, when I've moved on." But you know what? Gosh darn it, I want to know now. I want to know now. So
That's
that's why
right.
we're out there, Nick. That's why you and I are out there doing the research. We're out in the woods. We got our teams. We're gonna figure some stuff out, and thank goodness we have platforms where we can actually discuss this stuff.
I know.
And
And I just wish the government would start coming out with more information, specifically on cryptids and UFOs. Uh, that UFO thing, I've been investigating. The government does have technology. It's going deeper and deeper, and it's causing me to ask more questions. Uh, I've already got about 12 pages written up on that. So it's like, wow,
yeah,
how do we find this out? Who
I
knows?
don't know. We got to find out for ourselves. Apparently, uh, no, the government's not going to tell us, right?
I don't know why. I don't know why they can't tell us so we can at least feel safer. I have a theory on it, and I don't really want to get myself in trouble from spouting my theory.
It's
But
okay. I'm already in trouble. You go
all right,
ahead.
well,
I'm
I
right there with
think
you.
that if they keep the population in fear, saying,
Low
"Oh,
vibe.
this technology, Russia and China has this technology. We need this technology." They're keeping us in fear, or aliens are out there and they have this technology, and we need to, up our game here. What I'm trying to get at is the military industrial area. They want to. I guess they want to make more money. It's all about the money. When I used to investigate things, a lot of times I would say, and it's been said before, follow the path of the money. Who's going to benefit from this?
Yeah.
Who's going to benefit from having better fighter jets and cloaking technology and better drones out there and better weapons? Who's gonna make that?
Well,
The
yeah.
military industrial complex. They're the ones. So
Right.
don't come knocking at my door, people, because I bite back. So
Right.
don't just take it for what it is and just leave it for what it is too. It's like,
Yeah.
nope. We got to find
Well,
out what's going on.
Well, I think the best way for us to find out is by sharing our stories and our research and going on shows and talking with bigger audiences because there's going to be somebody in that audience that's going to know a little bit more about something that you may have a question about, and you may know a little bit more than something they got a question about. And when we can all put all of our information together, that's where the real answers come.
One of these days, yeah, somebody's going to come out there with just a little teeniest bit of information, and that's going to crack the code. We're gonna finally understand why this is happening, or why that's happening, or what's going on. Oh gosh, I would sure like to find a cave or a hovel or something where there's some cryptids in, just to be able to see the whole family there.
That's right.
At this point, Jessica, I've had one encounter and 2 sightings for a dogman. I have not seen any Sasquatch. Not by lack of trying, by the way, but I've not seen any Bigfoot, Sasquatch, anything like that. But D.A. Roberts and I had a sighting in LBL, Kentucky, and I had a encounter in Watchung, New Jersey, in a Watchung reservation, and I had a sighting. I don't want to give the town's name, but not 5 miles from where I presently live. We had a sighting right behind a tree, stuck its head out. Stayed out there for about a count of 5, stuck the head back in, and we went to surround the area. Now, mind you, I'm out there with a team, and it was gone.
Wow. So you know the real. You know the real. I know the real. You know the real. Dogface, thank you so much. That's a very sweet comment. I appreciate that. And yeah, Nick, thank you so much. This has been an amazing show tonight.
Wow, the time flew.
It went by so fast.
Yeah, we didn't even scratch the surface.
Well, guess what? I'm going to bring you back on one night soon, and I would love to have you back on if you'll join me.
Oh, sure.
And we'll talk about more stuff. I had no agenda tonight. I just had that one article, and I knew we could get through the whole night.
We expounded on that and got into other things.
We totally did.
You're going to tell them that there's more. There's, besides the frogman out there in Ohio, you were going to tell them there's a mothman out there.
Mothman, grassman.
They do have some Sasquatch out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's plenty of things out there in Ohio. Ohio is a strange place. I got to tell you, folks.
It is.
It's one of the strangest states in the union.
Yes, it is. I think every state's pretty strange. Alabama was strange today. Georgia's strange. There's a lot of good. I love it. Nothing better than being in a strange state, getting some strange critters out there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Nick, where can people find you? Do you have a YouTube or social media or anything where people can follow you?
Well, basically, North American Dogman Project, Region 3. And most recently, I took over Region 5. So North American Dogman Project, Region 5. They can message me on Facebook Messenger if they like. Also, I am co-hosting a show with Jeremiah Fountain. It's called On the Trail, in Search of Living Legends. In fact, tomorrow night, we'll be doing another show. And we have D.A. Roberts on with us. And we're not live, so he'll put it out Monday afternoon, for people to view. And they can just look it up on YouTube and get it there.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thank you for being here tonight. This has been another fantastic show. So thank you, everybody. Go follow the North American Dogman Project and Nick and Jeremiah's show. It's one of my favorites. I've been a guest.
Oh yeah. We had a fun time.
Okay. Well, Nick, thank you for being here this Saturday night. You're the best. I will see you next time. Okay.
All
right. Everybody. Thank you. All right. Bye, Nick. All right, y'all. That was awesome. As always, don't forget that right after this show, you can join the After Hours crew. They're going live right now to take you on a mysterious journey for the next 3 hours. Tomorrow night on Off the Trails, I have Barry Littleton coming on the show with me. We have a lot of interesting stuff to discuss. I can't wait to see y'all there. But for now, I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones. I'm headed off the trails. I will see you guys tomorrow night, and I hope y'all have a great night. All right, I'll see y'all then. Bye.